Morning, everyone. Welcome to this morning's edition of the NPC Markets Morning Call. Morning, Philip.
Good morning, Mark. How are you?
Oh, I'm very well, mate. I'm very well. All hail Saint Jensen, the patron saint of the AI bull market. I think they may even start a church for him down in Silicon Valley, potentially. But yeah, look. Tech was the only sector up last night, though, and there was loads of discussions around, around concentration risk and things on media and Bloomberg and things like that. It was 3.4% higher. All the other 10 sectors in the S&P actually did fall. As money, it's just flow of money. I'm
rotating
it out. But crude oil was up a couple of percent, and the software index, the IGV, only 6% from record highs now. Had its best day in forever, pretty much. I do have the number here somewhere. Best day since April 2025, which was the Liberation Day bounce, was it not? We had CrowdStrike up 20%, Salesforce up 23% as they look. And just a note, if any, and look, I assume that no Australian tech CEOs listen to this, but if on the off chance that they do, here's a lesson for you guys. CRM or Salesforce, they didn't just partner with Claude, they've an Anthropic, they released Claudeforce. So, basically they're really pitching that, they're really pitching the whole partnership with Anthropic. The whole, we're going to be AI enablers, etc. So if you're, if any of those CEOs are listening, lift your game. Basically, get a little bit of hype about you, because as we're going to see in a little bit, the ATech is looking pretty horrible compared to software. So Nvidia was up. I think the big point was that it was up something along the lines of 440 billion on the day. Like I said, the initial reaction was down, but Jensen just seriously, I was going to put a Superman cape on him, and I thought not actually, that doesn't emphasize it enough. He's just the king, or the saint of just getting stuff bullish. That Amazon partnership thing yesterday, etc. So Treasury yields were up. Everyone's worried about what Warsh was going to say. Crude was up, so I can understand why it wasn't particularly good for the, for the rest of the market. But AI is immune. Apparently, not part of the economy. And we saw some price targets come out from brokers upgrading Nvidia last night, which were just eye-watering. I think one of them was like $390. So So that would effectively make it, and I've done studies on this in the past. So Nvidia is the second biggest company in terms of market cap to global GDP in history.
Wow.
Dutch East India Company was the only one that was better, and they literally had their own military. They had their own army, and they operated basically within their own laws, and they had slaves. So that's the only other company. So I think that's probably, there's only so much money in the world, unless they just, inflation runs at 10% for the next few years, which is wholly possible. And something of note, which is non-market related, the Lake Ontario is now supposedly executive order is now named the Lake of America. It's looking at either renaming the Pacific Ocean or the Atlantic Ocean, the American Ocean. So good to know that he's really focused on the things that matter.
He's also going to send the army into the bond market.
Oh, right. Okay.
So there you go. Put a gun to their heads.
So new definition of bond vigilante. So ASX yesterday, disappointing. Basically now I think we're at an 85% rate, expectation of a November rate hike. We can swing around in that. US market bullish, just doesn't care. And look, I think we're probably fairly cheap, to be honest. Pretty good earnings season so far.
The materials, all the
and like
commodities and
I don't. And look, and as we're going to have a look at in a minute, but ASX earnings yesterday, Phil, your boy, Bapcor,
my boy,
up 41%.
Well, I felt like Michael Burrow, the big shot. Every time I mentioned Bapcor, everyone throws things at me in the office.
Yeah, well,
I stood firm and good result.
No, great result.
Yeah.
Karoon was down, Magellan was down, Mineral Resource was up early but down. Qantas up a little bit. Ramsay Healthcare. South 32 up 1. The Star Group.
There you go.
So for long-suffering shareholders, that'd be their first positive earnings result since about 2008, 2009 probably. Sigma Healthcare. Now that got belted. That was ugly.
The chart on that,
and that's the basically lowest post Chemist Warehouse levels. So that was pretty disappointing. And Wesfarmers was down.
Great surprise.
No,
Retail,
retail.
That's the same.
Bunnings CEO leaving. But consumer just generally, unless you knocked it out of the park. But yeah, Fortescue, Northern Star, sort of a little bit higher. EOS yesterday, and I put out on social media yesterday. For those of you playing at home, we did trim EOS yesterday. I've been bashing that drum for a while. Shout out to the Seneca Capital guys there. You only missed out on 71%. But ASX reporting today. Friday is always pretty quiet days, and we are pretty well. I mean, apart from the small caps now. I mean, the ASX 200 largely done, right?
Yeah.
So, Cobram Estate, olive oil, Dicadata, Harvey Norman, and Virgin Australia. Sounds like Virgin wasn't too bad, but I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, Virgin declared a dividend actually.
There you go.
Yeah.
And their profit grows. So. Pexel warned weaker property market will affect their earnings. I'm not entirely sure why, because they don't take a clip, of the prices. But I mean, Air New Zealand announced a pre-tax loss. That's really largely it. And we're just flicking through the fin review here. Hang on, Harvey Norman profit rises 2%. So but it has been pretty belted. WAM Capital half dividend target. That's not going to be received well. I would have thought, particularly when their small cap funds has been on the front page of just about every piece of news site for being up 75% this year.
Yeah, it's very
that's a bit weird. It's not good for an LIC.
No.
But so here we are. This is IGV, the software ETF in the States. And this is a 2-year chart here at the moment. So the 2-year chart, the IGV ETF's up 60%, Australian tech up 17%. But as you can see, the blue line, well, I mean, for those of you who are just listening, it basically tracked until this April this year.
Yep.
And now IGV has gapped ATEC by a good, 40-odd% or thereabouts. It's probably the widest gap, and I got it to go back 3 years. And ATEC actually outperformed. It was in 2023-24, was in line in 24-25, but and now it's really broken. And we're 25-26, like the full year. It's about a 32% difference. So, ASX tech bulls, I mean, where are you?
Yeah, come on.
You've got to, I think we need to, stop, to quote Monty Python, maybe look on the bright side of life.
Yeah.
But look, I mean, it doesn't really help when did you see Xero's shareholders 70% to knock back their CEO's pay packet at the annual general meeting. I saw not the AGM, at the meeting yesterday. Their shareholders are furious. And obviously, WiseTech's had its issues, to say the least.
PME, I'm not sure what's...
Well, I don't know what's going on with PME, but I mean, PME and Technology One, even still, I mean, catch the bullbug, guys. I mean, just lift. Not much in the way of commodities. Bitcoin still sort of grinding higher. What do we have here? Platinum, crude, silver were up a little bit. Coal was up a little bit. Uranium, the best performer on the week. And Yeah, not much to tell, but Aussie dollar doing quite well, nearly at 72 cents. Next week, what do we got? And I haven't looked at this yet, so I'm not. I'm going to be a little bit. So Viva Systems is wrong because it reported yesterday. It's up 16%. Palo Alto, I think will. Yeah, look, I haven't verified that, so I'm going to go out on a limb and say I'm going to have to check that. But we've got Jackson Hole over the course of the weekend. Interesting to see if he says something about Besant and getting involved in the bond market. Given that they're both Trump stooges, he'll probably say it's a good idea or something stupid. And we've got payrolls next week. And Besant's, Trump's guys runs the BLS now as well. So we'll probably get the number that we need there. I mean, we're sort of laughing, but kind of a bit of a joke. I don't envy the next president's job. Like, seriously, what a hospital path and being the next president of the US is. Because, I mean, there's 8 years won't be enough to unwind all this. You can grab the webinar on demand now. We've had a really good response for the investment on the next AI winners as well. Particularly, now that Jensen's cleared the way, I think he may have, parted the investment seas. Maybe you might want to say.
No pun.
It was a Red Sea. He's managed to get the red out of the way. There's an analogy there somewhere. Albeit
the fishes and loaves for everyone.
Yes, exactly. Jensen can apparently turn water into wine as well. But yeah, get to the webinar. Have a bit of a listen, but so looking at that next phase of AI, I mean, a lot of it, we did Software Survivors, which has absolutely killed it back in March. And I think we're looking at the PME VEEV one's now up 220%. We already got out of the CrowdStrike Palo Alto one, which we, in hindsight, probably shouldn't have. But
still,
you got to take 400%. But I think it's up 700 now if we'd held on. But and then if WiseTech, if WiseTech lifts, we'll be 3 from 3. Yeah, and a few of the hyperscaling strategies from last year are starting to look pretty promising as well. The average stock picks, I think, across the board are like out of these. So worst case scenario, take the stock picks. Because they're performing really well. Somewhere in the vicinity of 35 to 60% on average across probably 12 or 15 picks. And our precious metal strategies are returning over 200% per annum at the moment. We've got one expiring next week up about 300%. So get involved if you can, because these are really good risk-reward strategies that take advantage of these thematics and you don't get caught up in the noise. But have a listen to our podcast this afternoon. We're all gonna visit the Church of Jensen, and maybe nominate him for canonisation potentially. But myself, Philip, Kai Chen, and Jonathan Takadena join us for Bulls versus Bears this afternoon. But if you're not going to do that, A, you've made a mistake. B, have a great weekend, and we'll speak again Monday.
See you later. Have a nice weekend. Bye.